Welcome to the Orgasmic Lifestyle Podcast by Venus O'Hara. I'm here to welcome you into the world of orgasmic living by hosting experts to discuss orgasmic topics such as nutrition, spirituality, personal development, sexuality, and much more. Here, we will offer lifestyle lessons that can help you lead a fulfilling, joyous, and orgasmic lifestyle. I'm your guide, Venus O'Hara. Welcome to episode 73 of the Orgasmic Lifestyle Podcast with Venus O'Hara. In this Worm Moon episode, we'll discuss gratitude. We'll be speaking with Eileen Greene, a 94-year-old life coach. I also review the book Mindful Self-Discipline, Living with Purpose and Achieving Your Goals in a World of Distractions. The episode ends with a guided meditation with affirmations for gratitude. But first, let me share with you my opinion and experience with gratitude. Be grateful for what you have. Be grateful for what you've had. That was the takeaway message from today's guest, Eileen Greene. I remember when I interviewed her a few months ago, I was left looking at the wall and staring for a long time afterwards, and I was crying. I felt so sad. Not sad, I think maybe more melancholic. And she is a 94-year-old life coach, so imagine the type of wisdom that she has. Because we think we have time, and that's a big lie. We don't have time, and time is always ticking. So I think it's a good lesson for us to think about how we are spending our time and who we are spending our time with and how we can improve that and never to waste time. I have a friend who is trying to move from one country to another, and she just cannot stand where she is right now. And she's just, wishing her time away. And I said to her, never wish your time away. On this podcast, I ask all of my guests, what is the quote that you live by? And I was thinking, what is the quote that I live by? And that's something I'd like to share with everyone. Is to never wish your time away. Always be grateful for the present moment. And that's something that can be quite difficult to live by. But sometimes I just think about, seeing the joy in every moment, even if you're waiting in a queue or something that you just want to go by faster. I always try and find what is the beauty in the present right now. So that's a great way to live. But so going back to when I interviewed today's guest, all of the interviews that I do for this podcast make me feel like I'm having my own personal coaching session. It feels like a privilege and an honor. And I'm just incredibly grateful for the opportunity to speak to so many thought leaders. And because I'm in Europe and many of my guests are in the US, often the interviews are quite late for the time difference. So I'm often just looking at the wall, staring in awe for about half an hour after, and then I can't really sleep. I remember after I interviewed today's guest, I just couldn't sleep. I just felt I was crying so much. It made me think about some of the things that in my life that I was not happy with and situations that I felt helpless in, and I didn't really know how to resolve them. And I was thinking about my soul's yearning and if I was responding to the call of my soul or not. And so time is limited, and it's always interesting to analyze or how you are spending your time and who with when you realize that, because sometimes we think we have time. And just recently, I found out that two of my former colleagues who were pretty young died tragically within a few months of each other. And although I wouldn't say they were friends of mine, even so, the impact of someone dying before their time is still a huge life lesson. It makes you think that you never know when your last day could be. And it makes you think about how you could do things in a more mindful and intentional way. And especially when it's tragic. I mean, I think once you've lived a full life, that can be, you think of more gratitude of everything you have and everything you've had, especially. But I think that death is the biggest life lesson that there is. I remember when I was feeling incredibly down in June 2020, I had just discovered attachment theory, and I realized, I've already shared this on here, but maybe with a different angle this time, I realized that my lifestyle of being a single child-free woman maybe wasn't a choice, it was a consequence from my younger years, and that was a huge wake-up for me. And I wonder sometimes if the choices I've made of being single and child-free were conscious choices, or maybe the alternative, I didn't feel that the alternative was available to me. So that was, I just felt so down and so impotent and so lonely. And as I'm not someone who can identify with being depressed, I'm more of an anxious person, quite upbeat and optimistic most of the time. I tried to do things to kind of make myself feel better because I just didn't want to process the pain I was feeling inside. So I remember going to a yoga class, and I did this shoulder stand, and my neck was so sore afterwards. I even reached out to someone who is and was my hero at the time to request an interview with them, Dr. Michael Greger, who is an incredible plant-based doctor. He is the author of How Not to Die, and he's also coming on this podcast soon again. I cannot wait, and to promote his new book, How Not to Age. And so I reached out to his team to interview him, and he said yes. I was like, oh yes. But it was one of those things where, okay, I feel so down. I'm going to do all these things that I've been putting off because I need to feel better somehow. But then 3 days after all of this down feeling, I woke up with Bell's palsy, with facial paralysis. And I looked in the mirror and I couldn't believe what I was seeing. The left side of my face was droopy, and I couldn't smile. It felt like when you go to the dentist and you have they give you an injection, the anesthetic in your cheek, and you can't really move. And my eye wouldn't close. And I was in shock. I just could not believe it. I Googled and I saw things like stroke, Bell's palsy. I'd never heard of Bell's palsy in my life. And the guy I was seeing at the time came round and looked at me. He's like, oh my God. And then he took me to the hospital. And in the hospital, my heart was racing. I had to be on a heart monitor for a while because it was just going crazy. And I remember being in the waiting room, and there was a homeless guy who was probably drunk but full of cuts and bruises. And I was just thinking about how it doesn't matter what your life choices are, you can still end up in hospital anyway, So I think life is precious and sometimes delicate. And it got me back into a space of gratitude. I wasn't thinking about attachment theory anymore, I can tell you. I was just thinking, all I want to do is be able to smile. And the neurologist told me that it could take a month. And so over that time, I just cried, meditated, and did facial yoga once a day and facial massage. And gradually, I started to see my smile come back. I remember I used to wake up in the morning and just touch my face and look in the mirror just to see the improvements that I'd had overnight. And something as simple as a smile. It's like when you have something taken away from you. I remember I had an operation on my leg a few years ago. And that meant that I couldn't just go out and walk. I love walking so much. I had to hobble around. I had to stay on the sofa for a long time. I couldn't have a shower. So all these simple things, when you're in a circumstance that you cannot appreciate them or do them, that's when you really, really miss them. So I think it's really, really important in life to be appreciative of the simple moments and the simple things that we have. For me now, I just think about how much I love my bed and how comfortable it is. No matter what's happening in my life, I feel like I'm enveloped in my nice bed and my weighted blanket. So I try to just be grateful for everything I have, everything I've had, and everything that is coming to me. And I'm very grateful to you for listening to this podcast and for supporting me. So let's talk to today's guest. Do you want to upgrade your life? If so, check out my free meditation, my Life Upgrade Meditation. This meditation is very powerful. It contains 100 very powerful affirmations that correspond to the 12 areas of life from the Wheel of Life. And those areas include things like money, professional career, friends, family, relationships, sexuality, personal development, contribution to society, home environment, and much more. If you're curious about this very powerful transformative meditation, then check out the link in the show notes. And if you haven't got the show notes at hand, then the link is bit.ly/life, capital LIFE, hyphen, capital U, P, G, RADE, upgrade, hyphen, meditation with a capital M. The link is also in the show notes. So if you would like to upgrade your life, check out my free life upgrade meditation. It's time for this episode's interview. We'll be speaking with Eileen Greene, the 94-year-old woman with no limits. Eileen Greene, welcome to the Orgasmic Lifestyle Podcast. Thank you so much for taking part in this interview today. I'm very happy to have you here, especially after reading your incredible profile. And I was very excited to interview you, especially after watching your TED Talk. For those who are unfamiliar with what you do, could you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, of course. Presently, I am 94.
Wow.
Which is quite an accomplishment for me because I think I've had every itis and otis in the book.
Okay.
I have not been denied lots of surgery. And I only have a partial pancreas remaining, and it has to do a lot of work.
Okay.
Only partial. I've had my gallbladder taken out. I've had, oh my God, when I think about the parts that are not available to me, I feel like a miracle because I have what you call divism, which is inherited, and I've lost a lot of my family because of it. Now, divism is the inability for the two small tubes to join into one larger one.
Uh-huh.
So therefore, I have that limitation. And then, as I say, I've had quite a few surgeries. And so my body is working on less than it should.
Okay.
Working. And so I'm excited to be here at 94.
It's amazing. I read your story and I was so inspired, and it's incredible that in later life you were very passionate about learning. What inspired you to start learning and taking degrees and different courses later in life?
I've always had this yearning to be on top of things, to be educated. And it took me 25 years to finish college.
Wow.
Because I went at night.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to change colleges because of my children. I have 3 sons, and they were on a different time schedule when I was going to UCLA. So I had to find one where we could at least have our vacations together. And then I started being an interior designer, oh my God, 58 years ago when we lived in New Jersey. And it's kind of a fascinating thing because my eldest son was born in Petersburg, Virginia, because my husband was in service, because at the time they were taking men who did not have children. So my husband had to go because I could not get pregnant.
Wow.
And the weird thing was, I took test after test after test, And it turned out that it was thyroid.
Wow.
And so I started taking the thyroid. I now have three sons.
Oh, incredible. So it's another miracle because you are.
Yes. But nobody could diagnose it for me before because it was such a minimal need.
Mm.
But obviously, I need a maximum one.
Wow.
And as a result, I have three sons, I have six grandchildren, and I have four great grandchildren.
That's such an incredible achievement.
I
Mm.
mean, I'm one of the luckiest people alive.
Definitely. So throughout motherhood, were you also studying at the same time when you were with small children? Was it a constant learning experience, or was it something you started after they grew up?
No, it took me 25 years to graduate from college because I had a year before I was married. I had some courses that when my husband was in service, I took a course. He was in service in Petersburg, Virginia. And so I took a class in Richmond. I always had this burning desire to be educated. It was just very important to me. But because I could only go at night because of my children, it took me a long time.
Mhm.
But I didn't feel satisfied with just that.
Mhm.
So I took up hypnotherapy. I was certified in a lot of things. And so I took up hypnotherapy. I was certified. I went on to take different courses. And eventually, I wound up taking a class because of my eldest son, where I got my master's.
And how do you rest after all of this? Because it sounds very busy. Are you very good at time management?
Obviously, I was,
Mhm.
except that I had difficulty going to bed early.
Okay. Did you make the most of that to read and learn?
Yes,
Mhm.
yes, I did. And it was just something that, see, my father was very bright, my mother was very bright. And I just had this in back of my mind the need to be credentialed until finally I took one of the credentials that led to my master's. So
Incredible.
my son was teasing me that I should go for my doctorate, but that became a little too hard with all my children.
Mhm.
And so, as I say, my oldest son was born in Petersburg, Virginia, while my husband was in service. My middle one, we came back to New Jersey, and my middle son was born in Atlantic City. And my baby was born here in California.
And that's where you've been living the rest of your life.
so,
Mm.
so they were constantly on my mind.
Mm.
And my husband was so dedicated that he organized a Boy Scout troop, and my three boys are Eagle Scouts. So I have a lot to be proud of.
Mm. So how do you rest with all this activity? What did you do to switch off and recharge your batteries?
Well, I went into rebooting myself. I
Mhm.
learned a lot about um, my health.
Mhm.
among the things that I focus on is my diet. Not
Okay.
lose weight, but to get the nutrients that are necessary for my body. So, diet and education have been my life.
To tell us more about diet, I'm very interested in the diet
Well,
longevity and obviously keeping your brain going as well.
right. It is very important that to me, to have organic.
Okay, good point. Hmm.
I don't trust what's in the soil.
Okay. Hmm.
And then I have a list of things that are gaseous, that are not the best things you can eat. And so I'm, and I have helpers at this point in my life. But before that, I worked nonstop as an interior designer.
Hmm.
I could no longer handle the traffic.
Okay.
In Los Angeles, we have traffic. And so I stopped and I just do things online.
Oh, great.
Whatever comes up that I feel is going to make me a better person, I will take a course for certification. And it was a thrill for me to get my master's,
And what was your master's in?
spiritual psychology.
Love it.
Yes. So I'm addicted to learning.
I love
It,
it.
it's like a food for me.
Hmm. It also keeps your brain very alive. It's actually like having brain aerobics as well to keep learning. It's actually really good for you. Hmm.
In order to do that. And I'm very, very dedicated to my diet.
Hmm.
Now, not to lose weight, because I don't eat a lot of things that would put the weight on me.
Hmm.
I have to admit that I have one cheat.
Okay. Which is?
I take a little bit of Blanco organic tequila.
Okay. Well, it's organic, so it's okay.
It's okay. It's organic. And I take a bit of that at night
Mhm.
to acknowledge what a good girl I am.
Fantastic. So what's a typical breakfast for you?
Oh my God. I have to have help at this point in my life
Mm-hmm.
because my balance is
Mm-hmm.
questioned.
Hmm.
So uh, my breakfast starts with supplements
Okay.
we put into my first drink.
Hmm.
And so there's a whole list of supplements that I take once a day. Then, being a diabetic, I do have to take insulin,
Hmm.
and insulin usually 3 times a day. It's amazing to me, really, to have the memory that I have because my body, as I say, I have every thing that every otis, every itis, every ear. You know what they are?
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah.
And if you don't know what they are, you're lucky.
Okay. So, so
If
what
you
about so what about the food in your breakfast after the supplements and the insulin?
I have eggs for breakfast every morning.
Hmm.
And for lunch, I will have a fish or a dairy product or but non dairy. In other words, they're all vegan
Okay.
or yeah. I'm very conscious, and they're all organic because I've researched and I don't appreciate what's in the soil now.
Have you seen a big difference in when you were younger about the quality of vegetables, for example?
Oh yeah, yeah. As I say, I had every itis and otis and ia in the book.
Mm.
It's not. I was hospitalized quite a few times, and now, unfortunately, I'm troubled with my balance
Okay.
because I have an essential tremor.
Okay.
But, but you know what? I still feel like I have my brain,
Hmm.
and that's a very good feeling.
Absolutely.
And I'm not sure what makes me so lucky because I only have one cousin left
Wow.
that died of pancreatic, either
Mm.
cancer or my son just waved to me.
Okay. Hello to your
The
son.
elder lives here from time to time. He's a uh, speaker.
Hmm.
He travels around the world, but since COVID, not as much.
Okay.
This is about. I didn't mean to disturb.
Did you hear my son?
We'll say hello to him. It's great to have a family around. It's very important to have community around as well
Yeah.
for a good life. I recently saw a documentary series on Netflix about the blue zones, and they talk a lot about longevity and diet and community and how important it is to eat well and to be connected with good people.
And you know what else is very important?
Tell us.
Humor.
Oh, of course, absolutely.
It
Humor.
adds to longevity.
Yeah, because the joy and the laughter. Yeah, I think they talked about humor as well in this documentary. Yeah.
Yes.
Hmm.
So I have always had a sense of humor.
Hmm. Have you always been spiritual, or has it something that's grown throughout your life?
Spiritual was when I got my master's.
Hmm.
That was teaching me that we are a soul
Hmm.
with it was difficult for me who was born in 1929
Wow.
and a soul, but I do understand. And so if you lead by your soul, there's an energy that you receive, and it's difficult to pinpoint it, but it's there.
Hmm.
I am a soul within a body. Now, having been born in 1929 during that big depression, it was hard for me to recognize the fact that I had a soul
Hmm.
that would do that, you know?
I understand. I mean, for me, before I became spiritual, I used to identify as a body, like this is me. But now I know it's not me. It changes your perspective on everything, not just your body, but also on your message. Like why you're learning is to be a channel for information from spirit. Would you say it's like that for you?
Absolutely.
Hmm.
Absolutely. It's, I wake up in the morning and I give gratitude for what I had and what I still have.
Well, that's a wonderful.
I go into uh, looking toward a future. I'm not giving up. And I, unfortunately, am not the best with the computer because you can understand, I grew up, I was lucky if I had a telephone in my house. It was a totally different world.
It must seem strange now to be on a video call because I'm in Spain, Barcelona. Have you been to Spain?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Husband loved to travel.
Mm-hmm.
We did a lot of traveling. But more than that, he loved to fly. So we had airplane and we flew in our own airplane from Canada to Mexico to the East Coast to the West Coast. And we were adventurous. But he 8 years ago
Oh, wow.
after a 4-year illness.
Mm.
Then I lost my dog.
Oh.
But I live with the gratitude for the times that I had it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very tough, grief. Mm-hmm.
And I have the most adorable 4 great grandchildren that I only see on the computer because they live in a Atascadero, which is about a 3-hour drive.
So what advice would you give to your younger self? If you could go back in time and visit your younger self, what advice would you give?
Honesty,
Mm.
integrity, um, acceptance,
Mm-hmm.
and compassion, and uh, setting up a day of positivity.
Mm-hmm.
Negativity is a poison of the body.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think people realize it, but when I have people that work for me or help me or anything, I notice their language,
Mm-hmm.
and their language indicates that they are permitting negativity.
Mm-hmm. Like
And
complaining and things like that.
yes, or using I I can't, I think, maybe,
Mm.
uh, sometimes. All of those things are an interference to
Mm.
your soul. Positivity is very important. So I've learned how to give people exercises in positivity. And what it is that you take a piece of paper
Mm-hmm.
and center you put a heart.
Okay, I'm gonna do that now.
You can do it, sure.
Yeah.
And in the center of the heart, you put I am.
Okay, I love it. I'm doing it now.
I am what? If you put things like maybe or I think or I'll see, it's telling your body that you're not helping yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So when you do an I am, what would you do? I am giving gratitude for what I have, still have. I am looking forward. I am so fortunate to have grandchildren, great grandchildren. I am fortunate to have the ability to study, to learn, to move forward.
I love it. Definitely. On this podcast, we finish with affirmations every episode. I think it's so positive, especially if you're feeling a bit down, because sometimes with positivity, it can be a challenge when external things are not going your way, and it can affect how you feel. And sometimes when I lost a very big contract a couple of years ago, and I'm usually a positive person, but I listened to 8-hour tracks of abundance and, self-belief to try and speak to my subconscious and feel a bit more positive. And then good things started to come to me. But
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
To me, it's amazing. And when I got my master's, I became more focused
Mm.
how I would talk, what I would think, what I would do.
Mm-hmm.
Because we can possibly slip up,
Mm-hmm.
we make a mistake in our words to ourselves. So I'm very conscious of what I tell myself,
Mm-hmm.
usually in an I am.
Are there any
So I,
other practices you can share with us as well?
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
when you take this piece of paper
Mm-hmm.
and you put a heart,
Mm-hmm.
and in the heart you put I am. And then you take tangents off of it.
Oh, okay.
And what do you want to put on that I am? I am grateful. I am so pleased that I can at least see my grandchildren on the computer. I am so honored to have four of the most adorable great grandchildren.
Mm-hmm. That's wonderful.
And so you do a whole I am,
Mm-hmm.
and you plop it up on the door or the wall or whatever. So you don't have to keep studying it, because you just kind of keep saying it to yourself every once in a while when you pass, and it reminds you what you are grateful for.
Mm-hmm. That's the key. I saw you also qualified in NLP. I went to an NLP event tonight, which was very interesting. We did a visualization about outcomes. And
Yes.
So tell us about your experience with NLP, because it was at a time when nobody knew what NLP was.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Neuro programming. My son is very best friends with Tony Robbins.
Okay.
So we have some very lovely, influential people that have been in my home. I've been in my house, what, 58 years,
Wow.
but I've remodeled it 5 times.
Obviously, interior designer, you have to practice as an interior designer.
The word practice, because it is a practice.
Mm,
I'm at a point now where I'm very limited
mm,
as to when I go out and how I go out, because my balance and my tremor.
mm,
I, I'm grateful that I can go to a market and hold on to the cart,
mm. Oh, great.
wheel myself around, but I don't go out by myself. I always
Mm,
have a.
mm,
So I just consider myself very fortunate that I can afford one. My husband and I worked very hard, and I have, a small income, but enough so that I can have help.
that's wonderful.
So I'm not, I'm not a complainer.
Mm.
I give gratitude.
So what I'm seeing from your style, you have a good diet, always learning, lots of gratitude, and good people around you. Is there anything else you would say that has been key to your longevity and your well-being?
One of the most important things is your attitude,
Mm,
is your gratitude
mm,
for what you have.
mm.
And
Yeah, that's very important, what you had as well. Mm,
yeah, yeah. So in the morning, when I get my achy back out of bed, because I have Okay, I have kyphosis, scoliosis, stenosis. Okay, and then you just name a whole bunch of other stuff, and I've got it. But I am able to use apparatus that are helpful.
Mm-hmm.
This is, well, anyway,
Oh yeah, I can see. It's good to make it more comfortable in the chair. Mm-hmm.
it's a springy thing.
Okay.
And this is my office. And when my husband was alive, he had an office outside of the house.
Mm-hmm.
And I still have a little bit of property. So I've got an income in addition to what everybody gets.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm able to stay in my house because every once in a while I have these huge bills with my trees. The trees have to be cut.
Okay.
Has to come.
Well, it's so nice to have trees. Trees are very spiritual as well. I love trees.
Yeah.
In the Taoist world, they're very esteemed, very admired.
Well, now I go out usually in the morning, which is late morning, because I'm a procrastinator.
Yeah, me too.
And so when I do get up now, I go out barefoot to a little patch of grass and uh, do my little gratitudes with my feet on the grass,
Grounding, excellent.
bare feet to
Hmm.
ground.
Hmm.
And then, as I say, I have help and I do get to the market, but not often.
Hmm.
Scoot around with the cart.
Hmm.
And I have lovely people helping me.
Hmm.
So, energy in this house is very good.
So, what do you do to pamper yourself?
Well, like today, I put a little makeup on.
Okay, your hair looks very great. Your hair looks very nice as well. You have excellent thick hair.
I absolutely excellent thick hair.
Yeah,
I
secret.
do a lot of Googling, I do a lot of reading.
Hmm.
I'm always reading about the self enlightenment. And I have my son who travels around the world, so he lives here from time to time. And he has a darling, darling girlfriend that comes and visits. And I do podcasts. I I look up things. I talk to. Right now, I have lost all but one cousin
Hmm.
on my mother's side. But my mother lived to 100 and almost 102.
Wow, you have
And
good
she,
genes.
and she had the pancreas problem.
Hmm.
So I'm hoping that I'll follow in her footsteps.
Definitely, many more podcasts await. Can I ask you a couple of quick questions? I ask all of my guests. I'm very intrigued about your answer to this one. What is the book that changed your life? I'm sure there are many, but is there one that was
I
life-changing?
can't really say it was the book because it was the class I took to get my master's,
Uh-huh.
learning about the soul.
Hmm.
That was the most important. And I went there for, a semester, but it was mostly at night. And There are a lot of books. I'm reading one now, but for the life of me, it's slipping my mind. But it's from Moshe. Yeah. Can I get the answer to you later somehow?
Yes, of course, yes. Because I'm a big reader, so I'm always interested in what the book that's changed someone's life is. My
Right.
my one was Think and Grow Rich. That for me was wow. Do
Which
you Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill?
never read that.
Oh, really? It's a classic from 1937, and it's still relevant today. It's about the money mindset that everything is energy. It's got some kind of spiritual undertones in it, but it's very, very interesting about success and abundance.
I'll have to
Yeah.
put that on the list.
Yeah, it was amazing. I'm sure you already have that mindset yourself, but when you're coming from a limited mindset, it's a new way of thinking about seeing how important your imagination is, being able to, and also he talks about auto suggestion, the power of things like, meditation, how you speak to yourself,
Oh,
like affirmations, etc.
all right. Now, the one important thing, honey, that we haven't discussed is breathing.
Okay. Uh-huh.
And in order to center yourself and focus, very often it's necessary to just take deep breaths.
Mhm.
You breathe in from the mouth and out. It is the most settling thing you can do for
Mhm.
it, centering you.
Do you
And you do
meditate?
it, yes,
Mhm.
yes. Not for length of time,
Mhm.
because I'm always during the day giving gratitude.
That's a type of meditation, I suppose.
Breathing, yeah.
Hmm. Hmm.
You be amazed at how you can center yourself with breath.
Hmm. Definitely.
Try one. See.
Yeah, that's how I started my spiritual awakening, just learning about how we control our stress response through breathing. And it was very enlightening to me. I realized I was in control of how I react to things happening to me.
It's so different.
Hmm.
And it's like it's a centering, it's a focus, it's a rebooting yourself
Hmm.
when you feel that you're getting a little out of sorts.
Definitely. Another quick question for you. What is the affirmation or quote that you live by? Is there a phrase that you live by that's
Well,
been instrumental?
remind myself that I'm a miracle.
Okay, I love it.
You're a miracle.
Yeah.
Eileen. You're 94. You don't look 94. And except for the fact that you sometimes have to act 94 because you have every Otis and itis in the book.
Hmm. And still staying positive.
Humor, honey.
Hmm.
Humor, very important.
Are there any comedians that you've liked over the years?
Oh, over the years, there's a whole bunch of Jewish comedians that
Yeah.
I used to see at the Catskills. My husband and I would, travel. And, like Crazy Jerry Lewis and love Dean Martin's voice. Um, there's a whole past that used to go to the mountains to what we called the Borscht Belt, and they would entertain. And a lot of them hit 100
Wow.
years of age. So I'm convinced that humor is a necessary part of being alive.
Absolutely. Because you forget about maybe things which are not going right. You just take a moment just to be present and just laugh at something. It's also a wonderful gift when someone can make someone else laugh and smile.
Yes,
Mm.
yes. So, and I feel so proud that I used to see a lot of them in person.
Wow. Very fortunate. Mm.
Well, 1929, I was born, and then the world fell apart. So I've been through a depression,
Mm. Yeah.
but my father and mother were inspirational in the fact that my dad uh, had lost his job during the depression. But then, lo and behold, through some miracle, he got a job with the district attorney of Manhattan. And so he became a forensic accountant for Manhattan. And so he was responsible partially for putting the mafia in jail.
Wow.
Yeah. And so he became this forensic accountant that Thomas E. Dewey put on his staff. 300 and some odd accountants applied for the job. 25 got it. My father was one of them.
Wonderful.
So I have an inspiring heritage.
Mm.
And my mother had a great sense of humor and was very bright. Unfortunately, this pancreatic problem ran in the family, and my sister passed away when she was 66.
Oh, wow.
So, there's now I think I don't have any more. Now, one relative is still alive from my mother's family.
Mm.
So, how can I be anything other than grateful for me?
Mm.
My ability to sometimes help people. I do a lot of ordering online because it's not easy for me to go to the market.
Mm.
And so when I do, order, I get to talk to some people who are not living in this environment.
Mm.
So I wind up giving them the homework
I am in the heart. Yeah.
because I can tell that oh, this is my son, Rich.
Hi. Nice to meet you.
Same. I love what you're wearing. I think my mom would look good wearing that kind of thing.
Thank you. It's my Irish heritage.
Isn't she amazing?
She is. It's such an incredible achievement. I was reading the podcast sheet and the media sheet and I saw the TED talk and I cried in your TED talk at the
Oh,
end. Yeah. I'm not I don't cry at many things, but I just thought it was such an incredible message because people worry about getting old and they're just thinking of limiting beliefs and there's you like going against everything and just you keep on achieving, especially when I'm always amazed when people start achieving things later in life as well. I just think that's really interesting because people think life is over at 40 or something, which of course it isn't.
I heard you mention the blue zones.
Oh yes. Mm-hmm.
Community is certainly one of the things. The other is constant activity.
Yeah.
Older people like playing ping pong and playing basketball, and she does all sorts. if people would dedicate themselves to staying active every day, they would expand their capacity with their brain, their longevity, and everything. And my mom is an ambassador for that. I'm going to leave you guys. I got to go.
Okay, well, thank you. Thank you for that.
Where are you located?
Barcelona. But I'm
Really?
British, but I live in Barcelona. Have you been?
Yes, I have. I have. And I've spent a lot of time in Britain. I just did something with the BBC.
Oh,
but I would
excellent.
learn more about you. You guys go back.
Okay, well, thank you. Excellent.
He's going to be 70
No way. I cannot believe that.
in February.
No way. That's incredible. You have amazing genes. That I thought he was about 50 or something.
Yeah, I know. Telling you, in February, he's going to be 70.
Wow, I can see he's very active as well. So,
Yes.
mhm.
We ping pong volleying, and this was, I think, a year ago, and we did 1,023,
Wow.
which we think is good.
Wow, it's amazing. So you have very good genes then. If your father was so successful and your son looks just as youthful as you do, it's incredible.
You know, and it's amazing because my sister became what you call a victim, and victims cannot be helped
Yeah, I understand that.
because it's never their fault.
So one piece of advice I'd like to ask you, how do we deal with negative people? Because I sometimes feel that I want to distance myself from them, but sometimes these negative people have been your friends for a long time. How do we cope in those situations?
Well, after you have talked to them, you go through a process of positivity because what they are doesn't necessarily mean you have to be the same. So if you go into forgiveness, if you still want to be friends with them, you go into forgiveness for yourself and others, and you, what did we say, like you release the negativity that you're getting from them.
That's a good, interesting perspective. Because sometimes I feel like the urge just to distance because I don't want the negativity coming to me.
Well, that's very definitely a distancing here can make much difference as distancing in person.
Yeah.
You forgive them, you just go on with your own positivity.
And be a good example.
And if you can relay some of it to them, that's great. And you just make sure that you're the one that has cleansed yourself.
That's wonderful. So we'll leave it there tonight, though. Thank you so much for joining us on this podcast. It's been a real pleasure, and I'm very, very honored.
You are. I can see good energy coming through those blue eyes.
Thank you.
The book I'm reading now is Mindful Self-Discipline, Living with Purpose and Achieving Your Goals in a World of Distractions by Giovanni Dienstmann. I hope I've pronounced that correctly. He's also the author of Practical Meditation, and he is a future podcast guest, which is why I have decided to read this book. I do try to read the books of my guests, and it's a huge privilege for me because I love reading, and usually when I close a book at the end, it's like saying goodbye to a friend.
But in this circumstance of having a podcast, it means I can actually look forward to interviewing the author and going over some of the ideas and questions I might have about the book. I chose, and I was also interested in the topic of this book, mindful self-discipline, because I do think that self-discipline is something that I definitely need in my life. So when I bought this book, I thought, this is the book I need to read, but I wasn't sure if I was going to enjoy it. But in actual fact, it's actually very, very inviting. It's a big book, but I've already read about 80 pages in 2 days. It's kind of drawing me in, and there are lots of graphs and diagrams. And it's saying, this real message is that self-discipline is not about punishment or deprivation. It's actually about self-love and self-respect. And the only thing between you and your goal is discipline. I think that's a very empowering message, because that's something that's been lacking for me. One thing that I've been putting off for over a year is trying to create lots of content for my affiliate marketing platforms, because I really want to change my business model and have a more make money while you sleep, recurring income, passive income model, because it's so nice to earn passive income. And I have a huge potential because I've reviewed so many pleasure products. I'm on 33 different affiliate platforms, and 11 of them are making me money. So I start thinking about content strategies. I've already created a content strategy, but I haven't really implemented it yet because I've been distracted by other things, being distracted by, let's say, faster money that's going to be coming sooner. And although that faster money is often not recurring, so I find myself feeling quite frustrated and knowing that I am the one who has the power to change that. And it's also, I do struggle a lot with time management. So there are so many different elements to my work. I sometimes get overwhelmed and then get nothing done. So I'm trying to work out how I can improve that. And what I've been doing lately is the Pomodoro method, which is I set my phone timer for 45 minutes, and then I do one task and then stop. And I make sure my phone is in a different place. I don't get distracted by any messages that I might receive in that time, so I can completely immerse myself in whichever task it is. For example, I started the day, I do 45 minutes of email first thing. I think it's important not to be too responsive with email, not responding every time an email comes in, because that can really throw you off, especially for me when I'm in a lot of my tasks are things like video production or writing. And writing for me is something that I do best when I'm completely immersed in it. I can't be distracted every 2 minutes by WhatsApp or email or social media. So I do 45 minutes of email responding, and maybe later in the day I might do some more email responding. But in general, it's 45 minutes of email correspondence and answering comments. I do try to answer all the comments that I receive on YouTube and other platforms. And then I do 45 minutes social media, which is usually creating posts or promoting the content that I've created. And then I would do 45 minutes slots of writing, because now I'm writing a book, which requires lots of self-discipline. And sometimes you have to think about, what do I want now, or what do I want in the long term? And that's something that this book is talking about as well. And it's also inspired me to actually get back into the gym, because I hadn't been to the gym for about 3 months, and I was really not feeling good about it. Because I do think self-discipline, if you have a disciplined life, it requires discipline in all areas of your life, not just your work life. But I think it's important to have balance as well. And that's something that this book also emphasizes. Things like meditation, fitness, your personal relationships, and rest as well. However, the author does say he gets up at 2:30, so I'll be asking him about that, because I just think I think I would love to get to bed earlier, get up earlier, but I do think it's feels incompatible with Spanish life, especially in the summer when everything tends to be noisier, especially even if you wear earplugs. There's just incredible amount of noise. So I think people are still kind of awake at 2:30 in the morning. I don't think I could get up that early personally, but I do acknowledge that time of the morning when everyone else is asleep, there's lots of silence usually, and that can be amazing for your thought processes and creativity, especially if you're not tired and you feel well rested at that time. So I am excited about what self-discipline can do for me, because I think it has been lacking in general in my life. I'm okay with it, but I think I can do so much better, as everyone probably can. And I do have some big goals, and they are going to require lots of frameworks and self-discipline to actually, for them to bear fruit. And I'm excited about where it can take me. So I don't just read books. I try to implement the learnings in my life, which is the most important thing. It's not what you read, it's what you do when you close the book. And I'm also looking forward to speaking to Giovanni, which will be in a few weeks from now. So I will have finished the book, and hopefully I will be on my own self-discipline journey. Because also being a freelancer, that requires a lot of self-discipline. It's not possible to do unless you have self-discipline. But I've also in the past got myself into the habits of or the trap of being a workaholic, where thinking I have to work in order to make money, and even work at the weekends at the expense of my social life, my personal life, and sometimes my health and mental health as well. So I think it's all about balance, and also knowing when to stop and go to the gym. Something I'm doing now, which is really cool, is I'm going to the gym and the spa on Wednesdays in the day, which is a nice reminder to myself that I am in control of my time. I don't work normal office hours. And I do something is a non-negotiable for me is I don't use an alarm in the morning. I mean, for me, waking up at 2:30 or equivalent is not something I would like to do. Something I treasure a lot about my lifestyle is the fact that I wake up naturally, and I've been doing so since 2009. And people always ask, but do you sleep all day? Actually, I wake up at 7:30 today, and the first thing I do upon waking is meditation. I meditate for about 40 minutes every morning, and I find that's a really nice way to start the day and get my head clear. And then I have my breakfast, and then when I'm having my coffee, I read an inspiring book such as this one. So I don't want to actually change that part of my routine, but it's about getting the most out of each hour, and also delegating. That's something I am trying to work on as well, because I have a team that I work with with a company called Task Bullet. They are amazing. I have access to lots of people who can help me, but I also have to kind of implement my own strategies, and I find that hard. I would love to outsource that part of it and just concentrate on my own things like content creation, but it is a bit of a struggle. But a little, as they say in Spanish, poco a poco, bit by bit. And so yeah, I'm gradually implementing more and more habits of self-discipline in my life so I can thrive. Yeah. And so that is the book I'm reading now, Mindful Self-Discipline, Living with Purpose and Achieving Your Goals in a World of Distractions, by Giovanni Dienstmann. I hope I pronounced that properly. Now it's time to slow things down as we prepare for this episode's guided affirmations meditation. It's probably not a good idea to listen to this while driving or operating machinery. Instead, take a break from whatever you're doing, get comfortable, take a deep breath, and enjoy. I am grateful for all I have. I am grateful for all I've had. I am grateful for the love in my life. I am grateful for the support in my life. I am grateful for my health and well-being. I am thankful for life's simple joys. I am grateful for everything that is on its way to me. I am grateful for all I have. I am grateful
stronger. I am grateful for everything that is on its way to me. I am grateful for all I have. I am grateful for all I've had. I am appreciative of the opportunities guiding my success. I am appreciative of the abundance of resources around me. I am grateful for my daily growth and learning. I am grateful for nature's beauty and wonder. I am grateful for everything that is on its way to me. I am grateful for all I have. I am grateful for all I've had. I am appreciative of the moments of peace and tranquility. I am grateful for the support of my friends and family. I am thankful for the wisdom gained from life's experiences. I am appreciative of the laughter and joy in my life. I am grateful for everything that is on its way to me. I am grateful for all I have. I am grateful for all I've had. I am grateful for the kindness of others. I am grateful for the strength to overcome challenges. I am appreciative of the abundance of love and positivity. I am grateful for the beauty of each new day. I am grateful for everything that is on its way to me. Do you want to upgrade your life? If so, check out my free meditation, my Life Upgrade Meditation. This meditation is very powerful. It contains 100 very powerful affirmations that correspond to the 12 areas of life from the Wheel of Life. And those areas include things like money, professional career, friends, family, relationships, sexuality, personal development, contribution to society, home environment, and much more. If you're curious about this very powerful transformative meditation, then check out the link in the show notes. And if you haven't got the show notes at hand, then the link is bit.ly/life, capital LIFE, hyphen, capital UPGRADE, upgrade, hyphen, meditation with a capital M. The link is also in the show notes. So if you would like to upgrade your life, check out my free Life Upgrade Meditation. To find out more about me and my orgasmic lifestyle, visit venusohara.org or follow me on Instagram at instagram.com/venusohara. Make sure to search for the Orgasmic Lifestyle Podcast by Venus O'Hara in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Podcasts, or anywhere else podcasts are found. Make sure to click subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes.
Thanks for listening. Have an orgasmic week and make sure every day is a climax.